What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and this is your Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 11, Episode 2 review. All right, so we start off where we left off, and that's Teresa leaving Margaret's house, yelling, "See you next Tuesday," 500 times, right? She leaves. Back in the house, Margaret and Jackie are talking, and she's like, "Jackie, Teresa does not understand analogies, and people are not supposed to talk about kids in an argument. So you really hit two birds with one stone with that one." Jackie calls Evan, and you can hear Evan on the phone calling Teresa low class, and I hope she heard it. Since you have a crush on Evan, I hope you heard that, what Evan thinks of you and your behavior. I was like, yes, Evan. Evan was like, that's low. That's the lowest class. She was like, yes, that's the lowest, honey. Yes. So I hope that Teresa heard it, because she did kind of say on the bus on the way to St. George or George's Island, wherever they were on their way to, she said that Evan is her type. So we were all, the way she was looking at him with her straw in her mouth, I said, okay, we knew what she was trying to do. And just like Melissa said, everybody is saying, girl, it was no rumor. You made that shit up to get back at Jackie for what she did last year. And she didn't really do nothing last year. She just said the man who was grabbing your ass in pictures and the man you were holding hands with in pictures, that if it walked like a duck and quacked like a duck, baby, it's probably a duck. She didn't say nothing bad about you. All she said is, if you look at the pictures, what does it look like to you? That's what's happening. And you're mad about that so much that you would go around in a party and then you want to flip it because she used an analogy. So Teresa is on the phone with Melissa. Oh, Jackie said she don't want to be around Teresa. So if she doesn't go to St. George, I'm just going to call it St. George. I don't know what it's called. If she doesn't go to St. George, then she's going to go. But if she's going, she's not going. So, and she doesn't end up going because Teresa was going. And Teresa was ready. She was telling Melissa, yeah, I can't wait till we go, because I'm going to let your friend have it. I cannot wait. Teresa was ready for Jackie. That's why Teresa stays on this damn show. She was ready. She was like, I'm letting you know now. I'm going to let your friend have it. I'm going to give her the tongue lashing of her life. I'm going to let her have it. So Melissa was like, I don't believe it. I believe that the way that Teresa is telling me the story, she's leaving some things out. And she was like, I don't believe that she would put something out there like that. She was like, well, you know, I thought she was a strong woman. Evidently, she's not a strong woman. She tries all that stuff. That's how you know Teresa's not dumb, because it is so frustrating to tell somebody what they did was wrong and they completely just ignore you. Just ignore what's wrong, and they want to focus on what you did to them. So now, because she mentioned Gia, she doesn't care that she went around your husband's party and said he was cheating on you. She only cares that you mentioned Gia in an analogy. Not a truth, not what she heard, not from the blogs, not from the pictures. She's letting you know it would be just like if Gia said. Now, do I think she shouldn't have used Gia? No, because we know how Teresa feels. We know how people feel about their children, but we know how Teresa Giudice feels about her children and her daughters. So, like Dolores said, when you mention somebody's child, you better be ready to fight, because those are fighting words. So, do I think if she would have used her husband, like, how would you like it? They showed a clip from when Kim D said that Joe Giudice was cheating, and Teresa confronted her and was mad about it. The same thing, except your husband was cheating. Yeah. Remember when you were in the vineyard and you were looking for your husband and he was on the phone with his mistress and he called you a "see you next Tuesday. Here comes my cunt wife." Yeah, remember that? Okay. Girl, you ain't shit. But she tells Melissa, I blacked out. Yeah, because you was about to throw something at her. And she was like, I don't believe, Melissa was like, I don't believe how Teresa is saying. I got to hear it, how it was said, because I don't believe that she's saying it that way. So Jennifer is at her mother's house, right? And she's talking about her nephew and how her nephew has her father's name. and they named him, I'm just going to say John Wayne. Okay, I'm just going to say that. I don't remember the baby's name. So John is the first name. It's the same name as his grandfather, right? And Wayne is the middle name, right? So Jennifer's mother calls the baby by its middle name because she doesn't want to call the baby by her husband's name because she doesn't like her husband. She's mad at him, and he has turned her children against her. And Jennifer's like, well, Mom, every time I see you, it's really you that is really upset with him. She's like, you guys don't see it, baby. The way I said, I knew it. I knew it was something. I knew it was something. And she says, he talks to me bad. And she's like, I don't see him. She's like, you don't see him talking to me bad. When he gets in front of you, basically, he tells y'all this sob story and y'all feel sorry for him. But when you see me, it's because he said something. She's basically not hiding her aggression towards her husband. And that's what her children are seeing. He is a covert terrorist, right? So he doesn't do it in front of everybody. So, man, let me tell you something. I feel like when she was saying that, I felt like the relationship that I had with my mother is like everybody would tell me, Erica, why are you so this with your mother? Why are you so this with your mother? I said, that bitch is Osama bin Laden when nobody sees. When it's just me and her, she's a terrorist. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't see that. But it looks like she's me. So when her mother said that, I said, I knew she was mad at, I knew there was a reason why she was going off on her husband. And now that the children are out of the house, she doesn't have to play for these children. I'm going to be mean to you just like you mean to me, and I don't give a damn who's watching. And she was really mad. She's like, I don't want to call that baby by his name. He's mean to me. And he's turned my children against me and all this other stuff. He's not an angel. I said, come on, you better tell it. And Jennifer confirms again that that was an arranged marriage. And she goes, I'm better without him anyways. Didn't I tell you? Because the kids are out the house. She's like, this arranged marriage and this man has been mean to me. I'm not going to be nice to him at all. And does he deserve it? Probably not. He doesn't deserve to be nice to. So instead of dealing with her, you're going to move into your daughter's house. We got it, Pawpaw. Okay? Anyways, Dolores is at her mother's house. Her mother is talking about how lonely it is during COVID. She has 15 grandkids and somebody is always at her house. So she's been really lonely with that. They talk about David. David is Dolores's boyfriend. And Dolores shares with us, and I think we from previous seasons, she shared with us that her parents are also in an unconventional type of marriage where the father lives in Patterson and her mother lives in a different house, but they are still married. They just live in separate houses. So for Dolores, this arrangement that she has with Frank and David and little Frank or Frankie, that's normal to her. That's not something like, oh my God, I need to be in the house with my husband. That's fine. They talk about what a great man David is. And we're trying to figure out, because what we've seen, it does seem like he's a good person. It just, dang. It does seem like he's a good person, right? It seems like he's a good person. Seems like he's very giving. It seems like he's very, like nurturing. And I guess it's because he's a doctor. You know, some doctors are very just, especially pediatricians. We love pediatricians. Shout out to all the pediatricians. They're just so warm and nice and nurturing and want to help. And I mean, you have to want to be, listen, if you're a doctor, you got to want to help people, right? Period. So that probably comes over in his relationships with his family, with Dolores and things like that. So she says, well, he gets mad at me because when I have elective surgery. And she says, well, yes, you guys are not committed to each other. And no, you don't have to give him tell him what you're about to do. But it would be nice. It would be considerate to let him know, because he loves you and anything can happen to you. So you should tell him what you're doing. And she's like, but we're not committed. She's like, okay, but he's a good person. That's a good man. The only thing that David won't do is ask Dolores to marry. But he's a good person. And if you could see, baby, we're going to get to more of what David has done for Dolores and the people in Dolores's life. And I don't think that he would fit in with the husbands. He's too quiet. Maybe he would. I mean, him and Frank seem to get along well, and they seem to have that kind of camaraderie where they're like, little snide comments to each other. You know how some men relate to each other. So he probably would get along with the rest of the husbands. They're all professionals. Dr. Aiden is a doctor. You know, they're all professional people, entrepreneurs and stuff like that. So they want him around, but he don't want to come around. So I don't know what that's about. Anyways, Teresa calls Jen. Melissa calls Jackie. They start talking about what happened between Teresa and Jackie. And she says, you know, I was just giving her an analogy. I wasn't trying to spread a rumor. And it was not delivered in that way. She's like, well, everybody is on the same page. Well, it's like, you know, you mentioned Gia, so you can forget it. Even Gia told Teresa that she needed to apologize to Jackie. She understood. But because she doesn't like Jackie, based on Jackie holding her accountable, she's also attracted to her husband. And now you have said something about her daughter. She is never going to forgive you. Now, if she can forgive that crazy ass Danielle Staub, she can forgive Jackie, because Jackie didn't do nothing to you. Danielle Staub, that was a monster. Now she was horrible to Teresa, and Teresa forgave her, and that became her BFF, and that's who she needed last season to do all her dirty work, and she did it. And you see Danielle's not here anymore. Okay, everybody was like, we don't want Danielle around. Because you send her to do your dirty work and then you act like, oh my God, I can't speak English. You give us that, Teresa. Don't play. So anyways, Margaret, it lets everybody know Jackie is not going. And Melissa, when she walks into Margaret's house, she really doesn't say anything to Jennifer. She was like, I'm sure if I was a mirror, you would say hello to me. So Jennifer is really on this thing that Melissa is self-absorbed. Do you guys think Melissa is self-absorbed? I don't know. I don't know. But she is always looking in the mirror. She's always primping. She's always, you know, I don't know if she's, I don't know. Melissa doesn't really talk, even last season, there wasn't really much about Melissa. She wasn't really talking about herself. So I don't know what Jennifer's talking about. She's seeing something that I'm not seeing. Do you guys think Melissa is self-absorbed? Anyways, we see Lexi is in another scene. So Lexi, I don't know if they're trying her out to be a housewife, but she seems to be functioning as a friend here because she was at Jackie's husband's party, and now she's going on this trip to St. George. I keep calling it St. George. I hope that's what it's called. Anyways, so Teresa said, fuck Jackie and her analogy. She doesn't care. She was like, I was waiting for her to come because I was ready. I was like, Teresa is a mess. She was like, I was ready for her. I was ready. We were going to have a good weekend. Okay. And they were like, no, she's not coming. So she was like, whatever. So Margaret says, if you weren't spreading a rumor, there would not have been an analogy. And I love that. I forgot where we were. Oh, Love and Marriage Huntsville. When Kimmy was talking to Letitia and she said, you love to start in the middle. And so many people, when they've wronged somebody or when they've done something, they're being held accountable. They want to talk about what somebody else did to them instead of what they did to get the reaction. And this seems to be a theme in how humans relate to each other. So we see it over and over and over again. You want to start from the middle. No. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start on why I gave you this analogy. Let's start there and let's talk about your actions here and how you need to be held accountable for them. And don't dismiss it and say, well, if it's not true and I guess you're not strong enough and all this other stuff. No, we're not doing that. So I'm glad that Margaret was like, girl, it wouldn't have been no rumor. It wouldn't have been no analogy if there was no rumor, period. Teresa was like, I said sorry. No, you did not. You did not. You did not. Evan, he's kind of suave. I was thinking, he's my type. He's a suave, kind of suave, she said, a suave kind of guy. And everybody on the bus was like, listen, if there's no evidence, you don't mention it, period. And I think everybody is aware of that, but we have to remember what variables are in this equation when it comes to Teresa and Jackie. Teresa is attracted to Jackie's husband, okay? So that's the reason why she acted like a bitter ex-girlfriend going around starting a rumor at his party. Now Jackie, add another variable, has added Gia as an analogy. So now I have even more reason not to like you, girl. It's going to be a long road for Jackie if she gives a shit. Because I would be like, girl, fuck you. I don't care. You can be mad all you want to. You shouldn't have said shit about my husband. And like I said, even Gia told Teresa that she needed to apologize. Yes, your 20-year-old daughter, okay? Frank and David go to the gun range, and which I thought was dope. I love that they have the scenes with just the husbands. But Frank is Dolores' ex-husband, and David is her boyfriend. And they are going together to the gun range. There's, shooting. I guess Frank fell down a flight of stairs, hurt himself really bad. And so he had to stay at David's house, and David helped him heal. I guess David's house is the house of healing, because they showed footage of him like checking on him and this and that and helping him in. Well, they didn't show the footage of him helping him in the shower, but they talked about him helping him in the shower. And it's just like, he's a doctor. That's what he does. He cares for people. So I think I love that the husbands get along, or the boyfriends or whoever. I love that they get along so well. I love that they can have their own scenes without the wife. I love it. There is no other franchise who has a husband group like New Jersey, period. None of them. The men in Atlanta, I don't know, they act like they're too cool. I don't know. But the thing with the husbands in New Jersey, they're not afraid to show affection. They're not afraid to love on each other. They're just like, even when I was watching the first episode and Dr. Aiden, okay, they give a toast, right? They were like, to the men. And Dr. Aiden says, in the wild. I was like, y'all are crazy. So remember last season when they were on that boat and Dr. Aiden got so drunk and they were trying to carry him out and they hit his head on the car? Oh my God. Yeah, so funny. Anyways, let me get through this. So Frank and David, they have a relationship, and Frank is talking to David about the situation between him and his ex-wife. And he says, you're making a lot of excuses to get married to Dolores. Dolores cares about you and this and that, but you're making a lot of excuses. And I love both of yous. I love both of yous, and I want to see yous happy. I love both of yous. And so I just think that their relationship is cool. I think it's dope as hell. I think Dolores' setup is dope. I don't know, just me, that's what she wants, but they really have this, I don't know. I like Dolores' whole little setup. Anyways, Lake George. What was I calling it? St. George? Lake George. Okay. Margaret says, man, I should have brought some gummies. I was like, see, that's why Margaret is my girl. That's why Margaret is my girl. So anyways, they're eating. And the only thing I could think of, baby, when I saw all that catered food, all I could think about was Kenya. Like, Kenya, you need to watch this episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey so that you can see when people come to the house on the lake that you have everything waiting for them when they get there. Margaret had everything. They sat down, they ate upon arrival, they sitting down talking about everything. And they got their gift bags and this and that. So they're talking, and Teresa keeps bringing up Jackie. And she keeps trying to make Jackie wrong for her actions and keep trying to make excuses. And it's so like you really want to shake her shoulders, because it's like you are really intentionally missing the point. You all around, here's the point. You all around here, Teresa, making excuses. Well, she shouldn't have did this. Well, you should have did this. Well, you shouldn't. It's never about, yeah, I shouldn't have did that. It's always an excuse as to why you did it, not apologizing for doing it, right? And so many people are like that. Teresa's not the only person who acts like that. Jackie and Evan are back at their house. She's saying she's happy that she stayed home. And she says that she feels guilty for actually bringing Teresa around their friends and stuff, because she really turned that event, like, people were hearing, she was loud. She wasn't even quiet about it. And she says, I just hope they have my back when I'm not there, right? So Margaret, Melissa, and Lexi are having a conversation. And Melissa goes, Teresa's not coming back from that. Honey, I told y'all, she's not. You mentioned Gia, even though even Gia, the person in the analogy, said, you need to apologize to her. Teresa's not going to listen because she has too much now. I don't like you and I like your husband. So now I'm going to really fuck with you. And you mentioned my daughter? Okay, girl, I'm going to really fuck with you. So they're like, she takes no accountability, no accountability. So they're sitting down, eating dinner. They go to dinner. Teresa says she wasn't being malicious, and she says that Gia told her to say sorry. They start talking about sex and sex toys and things like that, and that Joe Giudice is selling sex toys now, and that Teresa says that they're really good. And then Teresa starts asking Melissa about, does she climax every time? And she was like, girl, you're talking to me about your brother. Even though I do think Teresa has some, I don't know what it is with Teresa and her brother Joe. And I wouldn't go as far as call it incestuous, but it's some type of adoration for her brother that is like, it's weird. I don't think it's incestuous. I just think she just has this possessiveness about her brother that teeters on unhealthy, right? And we saw the way she treated Melissa all of these years when it came to her brother. It's a possessiveness. I'll use possessiveness in here. Anyways, honey, Dolores said David knows his way around the vagina. I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, man. I said, oh, he's doing everything. He built a house. He chills out with your ex-husband. He could everything. I said, okay, Dolores, what is the problem? She was like, girl, he needs to get married. She wants to get married. I don't know. She goes back and forth. So we'll see how the season turns out with her and David. And they were like, he's good to my, she's like, he's good to my kids and he's good to my vagina. I was like, okay, girl. Anyway, so Melissa she asked Jennifer, am I being self-absorbed tonight? And she was like, I didn't start that with you. And she was like, so they apologized and they said, let's start off fresh. I really want to see, she was like, I'm self-absorbed. There's nothing wrong with being self-absorbed. I think that's what Jennifer was trying, because Jennifer, you're self-absorbed too. And I can see more of a demonstration of that in you than I see in Melissa, if we want to be completely honest. Anyways, so obviously there's an issue, and they end like that. So we're going to see what's going to happen next episode. It was a pretty good episode where we see that Teresa and Jackie, they're just going to be into it. I don't know how much Jackie is going to come around. Hopefully she comes around on the next group, thing. But we'll see. What do you guys think of the episode? Let me know. Let's get down in the comments. Take care of each other and protect your energy. Peace.